Hello, what's going on? Welcome back to the game room. Let's get right to it. So this episode of Variant Hunter deals with Who Wants to Be a Millionaire 2nd Edition. At the time the game came out, the TV show was just absolutely nuts. Everyone was watching it, everyone was trying to see who'd be the first to be a millionaire, etc. While the first version of the video game was published to PC, it wouldn't be until the second release that it actually headed over here to the PlayStation side of things. Sony actually handled the publishing of the game, so it's a first-party title. If you've never had a copy before, this is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Now, what's important to note in this first release is this guy right here. This is a play piece. When the game was first launched, Sony announced a $1 million sweepstakes, where basically you would buy a sealed copy of this, and it's important to note that this piece is actually underneath the shrink wrap on the jewel case. That way you couldn't peel them off and just take them home and try and win. What would happen is you would take the play piece, peel it off, and there would be a 7-digit number. You were then instructed through the instruction manual, which I'll get here in a sec because I accidentally reclosed the case in between shots. When you open up the game, the instruction manual called out the sweepstakes and told you where to go with the play piece to Sony's website. When you got to that website, you were asked if you were 13 years of age or not, and if you were, you had to fill out a quick survey, and if you weren't, you actually went right to the number submission. Once you got to the number submission, you would actually enter the digits on the play piece on the case, and if you won, you won. If you didn't, you got this losing screen like I've shown here, thanks to archive.org. Now, the sweepstakes for the $1 million ran from June of 2000 to, I believe, December 1st of 2000. Obviously, because of how popular the game show was and how popular the chance to win $1 million was, Sony obviously had to make a second printing of the game to sell through. Well, when the second printing came through, Sony removed the sweepstakes option, since by the time this probably came out, it was already over. And that was with this copy of the game. Now, obviously, I bought this new because you'll be able to see the scan on Game-Rave.com. But what's important to note is that it's missing the sweepstakes thing because the sweepstakes was over at the time. The only problem is that Sony didn't realize they forgot to take the sweepstakes mention off the instruction manual. So, with that second printing faux pas, it turned out Sony now had to reprint the game a third time. And considering how available this copy is, it looks like they just must have done something as far as the website goes, saying that the contest was already over, because it wouldn't be until the third release that they took it off and just put a generic photo of Regis Philbin. Now, if you're actually into their variant collecting, it's important to point out that the Air release and the third release have this flat artwork style, where the original sweepstakes version will have a little ring hub. You can see all the variants on Game-Rave.com. I'll put the page link below. And then finally, this corrected third version of the game is what led to the Greatest Hits printing, which, if you open up, it's your good old Greatest Hits disc and the same backing. So Sony isn't immune to misprints and typos and mistakes. So what was funny is I didn't even know that the second and third version of this game existed until I was on eBay double checking, I think for either a ring hub variant or something on the Greatest Hits, and noticed that the back of the manual on one of the regular releases matched the Greatest Hits, and that's when I went down the rabbit hole and discovered that. So in the span of 5 minutes, I went from 2 copies of the game to 4, and so can you. But yeah, that does it for this episode of Variant Hunter. I hope you guys are doing well. Keep wearing your masks, washing your hands. It's getting crazy. I am at least blessed in Illinois, where we are kind of like keeping things under control, where like the other half of the United States doesn't seem to know what they're doing. So just be safe, be careful. I got a whole bunch of cool things lined up. Most of it will not be seen for probably the next year, as it's taking a lot of work. But I am currently playing Builder's Block for an eventual review, and I do want to get back to an eventual pause mode episode in some series, but I think I will wait for the Polymega to come out at the end of the year, so I can actually have the HDMI capture and so forth. That being said, guys, if you have any questions, comments below, post away. Like I said, I'll have the link to the website down below. Be safe. I love you guys. Take care. Have a good one.